I'll share my screen now, everyone, so you could see. Uh, can you all see my screen? Awesome. So this this was done for Chores Connect. It's a brilliant survey because it captures the essence of everything we discussed last week. Very short, concise, so as we discussed, the purpose of doing a survey or conducting interviews is to validate that whatever product proposal you've proposed, that's actually a problem and that your idea is going to be a solution. So maybe before we go through the survey, let's look through what that was. So this is Trust Connect, and the problem statement and slash pain points were that in a fast-paced world, people would have problems being able to, keep up to date with all of the chores that are around in the home front, and these could prove quite problematic for maybe students or high net worth individuals who don't have time to be doing gardening and so on, laundry, all of those things, those chores. They could outsource them to people out there who need these sort of jobs. And so it becomes an exchange of value. You come in and do my chores as value you're creating, and I give you money as value I'm giving. So exchange of value. I give you what you value, you give me what I value. I value my time, so I'll trade that. You come work and maybe do my laundry, and then you get paid in the end. So the solution was Chores Connect, and we said that it's going to be the ultimate housekeeping service that will provide all of the core services in the home for people to be able to utilize. I think everyone has access to this, so I hope you've spent some time reading through it. And so the owner created a survey to validate, is everything described in here actually a problem, or are there people out there that would actually use this service if it was to come to life? And so to validate that, create a survey like this. So you want to find out what age groups or age brackets people fit into. That helps you to start to, identify your customers. So you can see here multiple age brackets, brilliant. Genders, you want to know, are there more males inclined to use your product? And then so these sort of insights helps you to understand who you could, target your product to, and then you market it accordingly. You don't do marketing, but at least you could have that conversation with marketers. So a broader conversation could be had with everyone. And then you also want to know, employment status. We can hypothesize that perhaps more people that would use the app might be employed, but we don't know. That's why we ask it as a question. Then we get to receive the responses and then remove all doubts, if at all there were any. So people will tell us. And then question four, brilliant question. How interested would you be in using such an app? Very much interested or not interested? This question alone could literally stop you from moving forward. Because if you receive a lot of people saying not interested, then there's really no need to move forward. So that's why really love this question. And if more people said, yes, I would love to use such an app, then that arms you more, it gives you more, more confidence to actually proceed to the next stage of the product development life cycle. So at this point, you can have conversations with everyone in the company that is interested. You can say, we've got the validation that we need. Remember, the whole purpose of surveying or having interviews is to get confidence. for people to tell you that yes, your idea is brilliant. And these are the people that will be using it. So if they tell you they are interested in using it, then that's all you need to know from a user perspective. And you want to be user centered. So if you're being driven by what users are demanding, then that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's brilliant. And then the last question, another brilliant question. It helps you to know, what services people are actually really mostly interested in. Is it housekeeping? Is it laundry? Is it nanny services? Is it gardening? Car washing? Is it food shopping, groceries? All of these things are really critical, and they really help you to understand what the market is demanding. So this is a first pass market analysis slash understanding, and you're getting this from your core users. So brilliant, brilliant. Thank you for being so thorough with this, Nonye. It's an amazing survey. It shows that should you join a company that already exists, you can, and they're going through some sort of survey as a group. Sometimes you can jump on a call and everyone is just contributing. This gives me confidence that you would be able to contribute in such a group. And well done for doing this. So everyone, this is a standard that we'll be expecting from everyone each time we give, a takeaway exercise, that we bring this level of excellence to it. This is how we learn, and by doing. And that's why I encourage everyone to ask, questions so you really get an understanding. So at the end of the class, whatever the takeaway exercise is, you're able to execute at a very high standard because you really understand the concept and the insights from the class. Great. So let's move on to today's class. So before I move on, any questions? Okay. I assume we're all good. You all could hear me, right? Awesome. Just checking. Okay. Great. So we went through the survey analysis last week as well. So what happens after you do, after you go through the questions and so on, and you get back those feedback that you could potentially, let's say, for example, Nonye proceeded to hand this out to 1,000 people. That's 1,000 surveys coming back, 1,000 surveys, and you have to go through each and every one of them and understand, and then you start plotting it. So you could say how many out of 1,000 people, how many were between the age brackets of 25 to 34. It could be, let's say, 200, and maybe the most the age bracket with the most people, might be, let's say, for example, 35 to 44. And that age bracket had 500 people. Now you can start forming some analysis. That's why we call that next phase analysis. You're going through and you're making correlations, and trying to really gain insights from 1,000 surveys. If it is an interview, you do less. If you're doing interviews, we don't do numbers. With interviews, there's something known as a point of saturation. A point of saturation is essentially after 16 people, you can interview 5 billion people. You will get the same sort of insights. They'll tell you about the same thing. So that's known as point of saturation. Point of saturation, therefore, means the point at which you no longer get any new insights. It essentially means you get the same information. It might be said in a different way, but it's the same thing. And when you do interviews, that's known as 16 people. You don't do more than 16. So a good number to do with interviews, it's between 8 and 16, no more than that. And that's why, the qualitative interviews are to give you a different dimension. And then the quantitative, because you do so many, you can do 1,000, surveys. You can do 5,000 if you want. Depends on what you're looking for. So quantitative surveys, qualitative interviews. So that's the main difference. So you can choose to do a combination of them. You can choose to, maybe get 100 people to fill out your survey and then sit down with maybe 8 people and just, discuss your some insights with them, discuss some questions with them and, really find out why. And the difference, you might say, why would I want to do a quantitative survey as opposed to a qualitative interview? Sometimes, for example, this question, if you ask someone to fill this and they say, how interested would you be in getting help online with certain chores? And they said, not interested. Well, what you're missing out if you do a survey is now you don't get to understand why they said that. But if you do an interview and someone says not interested, you could say, please, could you expand? Give me more insights as to why you're not interested. And then you could turn into a conversation. So you get deeper insights. And this is why most companies, well, let's not say most, some companies prefer qualitative. So qualitative is interviews, and some companies prefer quant. So quant, you get more than, let's say 1,000 people giving you responses. So you can draw some, you know, inference and say if out of 1,000 people, 600 said they're not interested. I mean, what are the odds that 600 people would say they're not interested? I have to listen to 600 people. And that's the main difference. Some companies they want to play the game of number, and some companies want to play the game of quality. Quality is a qualitative. So you interview maybe between 8 to 16 people, and then you have deep conversations with them. And so you can draw inferences and summaries to say, well, I haven't had a deep conversation with 16 people. It appears that, they're very much interested. And I know their deeper why. I know the rationale as to why they're interested. So you get more than just a checkbox. So there are pros and cons. No one's going to tell you, this quantitative surveys are better than qualitative surveys. So it's all subjective. It's based on what you're trying to get out of your research. Right. So let's move on. So you have a survey analysis. We went through that last week. And as always, we're keeping to our intra-Africa flight scanner. And today we're going to move on. So once you've got the survey validation and, you're getting the overall sense that people are happy with your either your feature or your platform. In our case, in the class, we're not thinking just feature, we're thinking of an entire brand new platform. But that doesn't mean everyone has to do a brand new platform. I would really love for some people to focus on features. So you look at maybe a platform that already exists and you envision a new feature as an addition to that platform. It would be nice for someone to do something like that and and bring it to the class, and then we can discuss. It'd be an opportunity for everyone to learn what that process looks like if you're adding new features to an existing platform. Okay, so in our case, it's an entire brand new platform that we're trying to envision and build for the world. And so you've got the survey analysis, and the survey comes back, and everyone seems to be, gearing towards that. Everyone is really excited about this platform. So that gives me confidence. That's the validation that I need as a PM. Now, if my boss wants to have a conversation and says, what is the overall sentiment of our analysis? for our user base, and what our customers saying. Are they really excited for this platform, or are we just overly excited ourselves? And I have the data to say no. Based on our research, it seems customers believe this is a problem, and will be solving a market gap that we've identified, and therefore it's a great product proposition to introduce to the market. That being said, my boss just gives me the thumbs up and said, yes, let's move forward. Let's go ahead and now identify the key features for the platform. What are some of the frameworks we can use to identify features in a platform? The first we'll go through is called the jobs to be done. Jobs to be done is one of the key frameworks that is mostly used to identify core features. And the frameworks, it works by helping you identify what are the key things that people would love to do when they come to the platform. And we've looked at this briefly for other platforms. During the brainstorming week, when everyone started, we looked at how everyone was saying for Chores Connect that, yeah, for Chores Connect, when everyone started listing these things down, live chat, these are known as jobs. So we looked at it briefly. So, like being able to upload ID, what is a job there? A job is essentially what a user wants to do. So, for Flight Scanner, the key jobs to be done are users being able to find affordable travel. So, what are the affordable travel options? And as we said, the jobs to be done are the core things that users want to be able to do on the app. Like, what is the satisfaction from their perspective? And then, they want to be able to ensure convenient and efficient travel. That's a key driver. These are the key drivers that's bringing them to the app. Ensure reliable and quality air travel, overcome booking challenges, stay informed and connected, accessible, mobile friendly services, simplified decision making. So these are at a high level some of the jobs to be done. And so when you look at the core jobs to be done, you can say, okay, what is functional jobs to be done? The functional is where you relate it to the feature. And when you're doing this, you have to think holistically. What is the what is the user trying to do on my platform? For Flight Scanner, we are a travel aggregator. We help people to search the market and find some of the best flights available for the route that they're looking to travel. So the functional job to be done is to compare flight prices, right? To compare flights that are available out there. So you can do so by searching, and then you get a bunch of flight results returned to you, and you can, if you're price sensitive, you can take the cheapest one, and if you're not price sensitive, then more you look for more variables. So it might be that you're looking for a direct flight, so you can so that another job to be done there would be search for direct flights, view airline reputations. These are things that would help you to decide, should I book a certain airline? Should I book Ibome versus book Arik? These are the tools that you'll be using to make your comparison. What is the airline reputation? If Ibome has a bad, you know, reputation, you can say, well, actually, I know they're prone to cancellations, and I don't really like that. So I would rather pay a little bit more to fly with Eric than to pay, to fly with Ibome. So these are the choices, and these are the decision making processes that are taking place in the in the minds of customers. So those are known as the core jobs to be done. You look at what exactly is a user trying to do when they come to flight scanner. So they want to compare flight prices, they want to search for direct flights, They want to view airline reputations and services. They want to receive price change notifications. They want to be able to link our platform to their social media. And they want to be able to access a user friendly mobile or web application. They want to be able to see a clear breakdown of the cost for their tickets. And they want to be able to refer people, to get some maybe bonus, to get some money, to get rewarded for referring people to the platform. And so that's the functional side of things. And then you look at emotional. I want to be able to compare flights. Yes, that's nice. But emotionally, how am I feeling about being able to compare prices? When I compare prices, I feel confident that I've found the best deal and therefore I've saved money. That's the emotional benefit. So you look at, the functional is I can do this. Can I compare prices on Flight Scanner? Yes. Emotionally, how does that make me feel? I feel great because I feel like I've got a bargain. I'm saving money, and that makes me feel good. I can use my money for other things. I don't have to spend all of my money on flying. So I feel good. And then move on to the next one. What else can what else do I want customers to be able to do on our platform or on based on a specific feature? So I want us to always be thinking, features as well as being able to build an entire platform. So for example, when I mean features, compare flight prices, that would be a feature, right? This is a feature. It's a single thing. So if flight scanner already existed and they didn't have the ability to do this, and I came up and say, guys, let's enable people to be able to compare flight prices. That will be an addition. It will be a feature, a new feature. And so I can say the functional jobs to be done is compare flight prices, and the emotional jobs to be done is it makes me feel good because I'm saving money. And that will be it. So you see that if you're building a feature, it's much easier to do. If you're building a brand new platform, you have to think about so many more things. So that's for you guys to decide. Yeah. So, any questions so far? Any questions, guys? Okay. This is critical. You think of jobs to be done. As I said, this is the first phase. So you've done your survey, you've done your survey analysis or your interview analysis to get the insights of what customers are looking for. Then you use the jobs to be done framework to elicit core features from your responses, from your survey analysis. So I'm using this and I'm deducing from it. I'm not just making these up. I'm looking from my survey analysis. I'm interpreting what customers are saying. And I'm saying, based on what customers said, it seems they would love to be able to compare flight prices. It seems from what customers have said, they will get, when they compare flight prices, they will feel emotionally really good about themselves and they will feel very happy because they're saving money. So you see, I can deduce the functional and emotional jobs from the interview. Just want to make sure that's clear. These aren't made up. These are deduced from the survey analysis, and that's why it's everything just flows. Someone asked, I think 2 weeks ago, what is the next step? So it's a very systematic process. You go from doing your proposal to then creating a survey to validate your proposal and then doing an analysis on your survey or interviews to understand what users have said. And at this point, you really prove either you really understood what customers said or you didn't. So this is a phase that proves that because you turn what customers said into features. And so by looking at, your survey analysis, you can say customers are asking for a flight, uh, an ability to be able to compare flights and the prices, an ability to be able to search for direct flights. So you go through and turn all of them into key features. And then you can do another exercise where you can just cross check to see what you had originally. In the case of Chores Connect, Nanya, you could just do a quick check to say, okay, it seems that customers have the same ideas as what I originally had. So that's great. So in some cases, you can make the final call and set and just either remove some of what you had here or add some more. So at that point, you're just compiling a list. Remember, this is just the first step to identifying features, and you can combine them together, and that gives you can combine your features together. So you take this, what you deduce from your survey, and combine with what you had originally. That's fine. And then by doing so, you now have a very broad list of features. Okay, that's all we have for this phase. So this is the first step into turning your interview insights, that's your analysis, into features. So you do so by using the jobs to be done framework. So, and to summarize, the jobs to be done framework just keeps you focused on customers. When you look at any platform out there, you use the platform to fulfill a desire. The feature is not really what customers are looking for. If we look at the example of Chores Connect, you know, customers are not really looking for a platform uh, to like take away all of their problems. They're looking for a platform that helps them to feel connected to empower them to live their lives. Empowerment comes from being able to do all of these things or whichever ones that they need. If there's an app out there that can help me with laundry, then that app empowers me to live the life that I want to live. Because now I don't have to spend time doing laundry. I can just pay someone, they do that, and I can use my time to do other things that mean more to me. If I can afford to pay, the fees and so on. So customers aren't looking for a housekeeping platform, they're looking for an app essentially that helps them to live better. That's the whole goal of the jobs to be done theory, is that you focus primarily on what customers are after. Like what is the emotional benefit? Emotional benefit, if I can find a platform that helps me to compare prices, for example, then I feel great because I'm saving money. So for every feature that you have deduced from the survey analysis, you have to accompany it with an emotional benefit for customers. So we've said here, the customers can search for direct flights. The emotional benefit is the hassle-free and time-efficient travel processes. I don't know how many of you have been able to, maybe book a flight that has two stops. It's a nightmare. Like you travel to one country and then you wait there for like 4 or 5 hours, and then you travel again, and you wait for another 4 or 5 hours, and you travel again. It's terrible. awful. You end up spending maybe 10, 15 hours on the way. Maybe a journey that potentially might have been, 6 to 8 hours. You end up spending well over 18 hours. So if there's a platform out there that can help you to save money and book direct flights, you would that will make you feel really good. So it's time efficient. That's the emotional value. Over to you guys. Questions, thoughts? You may have questions pertaining to how you can relate this to your idea, or you may have questions pertaining to a flight scanner. You may have questions pertaining to anything that you're thinking. Just bring it to the fore. Let's discuss it. No question, no question is too silly. Question? No? Okay. So we all understand the idea of jobs to be done. So translating your analysis into features. Brilliant. Let's move on. So move on to the next phase. So now we've moved all of the jobs to be done. You can see them here. We have all of the jobs to be done in one column. And then in the middle column, we have another framework is known as use cases. And we have another framework known as user stories. So here we would, I would, I would only go through the first row because I really want to make sure that we understand this. So the concept of jobs to be done, we now know that jobs are what people are trying to do in a platform. That's all it means, jobs to be done. When you hear jobs to be done, when I say jobs to be done, all I mean is the key features that customers are looking to perform in an app. So if I tell you what is the jobs to be done on on a banking app such as Monzo or such as uh, your Access Bank or such as Palm Pay, like one of the jobs to be done, because there are many, one of the jobs to be done would be to be able to log in, to be able to transfer money, to be able to withdraw money. These are all jobs to be done. I want to be able to do these things. I want to be able to send money. So when I speak of jobs to be done, I mean, what are customers trying to do on an app? And customers think of these things. This is what drives them to join a platform, to create a bank account, to create any service in a digital app. So jobs to be done is what drives those decision making. For Flight Scanner, we've said the jobs to be done is driving people. One of the jobs to be done. As I said before, there are multiple jobs to be done. You just have to find the key ones that you are interested in based on your interview or based on your survey analysis. So, one of the core ones that we found was the core jobs to be done was find affordable travel options. So, people are looking for affordable travel options within Africa as a continent. And we said that this to be able to go on the platform, come on our platform, Flight Scanner, they download the app or they go on our website and then they can search, maybe search for a flight from Nigeria to Ghana, and there might be multiple options. There might be a direct flight. There might be, a flight that goes to South Africa first and then goes to Ghana. That might be cheaper. But can you imagine traveling to South Africa first and then waiting and then being loaded onto another flight and then being taken to Ghana? Yes, that might be cheaper, but time wise, it's very expensive because you have to spend so much time traveling. So, but that's what people want, to be able to find affordable travel options. You give them the options, then they will decide for themselves. And we'll move on to the idea of use cases. So, a use case, much like a jobs to be done, is what is the exact, what is the finer detail of what a customer is trying to do. So, when you think of use cases, the use cases in terms of find affordable travel option, one use case would be compare flight prices. Again, within this core jobs to be done, there might be 3 or 4 use cases. We've only highlighted one. So one of the core use cases, the use case is what a user is trying to do. And in which case, in our case here, we look at the core use case as being uh, the user being able to compare flight prices. So how many of all the flights that have been returned, I come in, I search for a flight from Nigeria to Ghana. How many flights do I get back? And then let's say I get back 3 different flights options. I choose, I can look through them and see that there are 3 separate prices. And depending if I'm someone that has the funds, then I wouldn't really care about prices. I would look for other metrics. I could say something like being able to search based on an airline's reputation. If the airline has a good reputation, maybe that would be something that I care about more. And then if an airline has a reputation of canceling their flights, then perhaps I wouldn't want to book with them. So, and then you have customers who are price sensitive. It just means if the flight is quite expensive, they would not be interested. And so you have to cater for different customers. You have to be able to give room for customers who, are price sensitive, and ensure that you can cater to them as well. Okay? And then we'll move on to user stories. So the user story has a framework. You'd say, as a user, I want, and then say it will be as so it will be the user, and it will be what is the goal, what is the user trying to do, and then you also have what is the benefit for the user. So within this, you can see this is the user, and this here is the goal, to be able to compare prices for intra flights, for intra Africa flights, and then the benefit is to be able to find the most affordable option. So you could see, so within the user story, you have that framework, that it's what is the role, what is the goal, and what is the benefit. These are the things that constitute a user story. So whenever you hear user story, always think role, goal, benefit within one sentence. You can see it's separated by the commas. So as a user, I want to easily compare prices for intra-Africa flights to find the most affordable option. Yeah, see, again, within that format. So role, goal, benefit. And here we'll do a practice in the class. So I'll share uh, let's use this. Let's do a practice. I'll share a mirror link and have everyone come in. So I want us to practice writing user stories. This is a key one to really, I want everyone to master being able to write user stories. It's something as a product manager, you may not write a whole bunch of user stories, but you need to be able to correct where you see user stories not written correctly. If you don't know how to write them, you won't know how to correct. So you need to have an understanding of how user stories are created. So I'm gonna give a bunch of I'm gonna give a bunch of use cases, and I want us to practice. This is a practical time now. I want us to practice being able to form good user stories using the framework that I will share, which is role, goal, benefit. And it will always be in the same format. As a user, I want what is the benefit, and as a user, I want what is the benefit to the user, and you have to think in terms of the function as well. What is the goal? So role, goal, benefit. As a user, I want to start speaking on the goal. What is the user trying to do? And then what is the benefit? So let me put that here so we all can see. So what I mean is we think in terms of role, goal, benefit. And how this translates is you say, as a user, I want, and you state that benefit. You state that goal. What is the goal that the user is trying to achieve? And then so that here you state the benefit. Is this clear, everyone? I've just sent the link. If you're with you, if you're in Mirror, I've brought everyone to me, so you should be able to see it now. If you're in this board, so Mirror has a feature I can bring everyone to where I am. So everyone that is in Mirror will be in the same place as me. If if that's okay. Ah, okay. Yeah. I'm not sure what the experience is like on the phone. Right, right, right. Right. Okay. Ouch. Okay. Okay. We're going to write three separate user stories for three separate use cases. So the first use case is known as the create account use case. Right? As I said, a use case is what is a customer trying to do in a platform. Customer is trying to create an account. Customer is trying to book a flight. Use case, you always have to think in terms of verbs. So any action, sorry, I have to think in terms of, action words, so that verbs, to do, create, profile, create a profile, book a flight, create an account. So we've just seen the user story for, I don't want us to use that as an example, but because we might get confused. So I want everyone here. So we've talked at how to create a user story noun, which is essentially us being able to create a user story in the format that is shown here, which is as the user. This is already, user is already specified because it's more often than not, it's going to be about the user. It's not going to be about anyone else because you're creating a platform for customers. It could be customer as a customer or user, whichever language you prefer. That's optional to you, but it's commonly known as a user. So as a customer, I want, that's the goal. So I want to, and so you replace goal with what do you want customers to do. So I've put these brackets here. So the brackets are replaceable. Are we all clear? So as a customer, if you prefer to use customer, then use it. Otherwise, you can replace that with user. You can say as a user, I want, and then you specify what the customer wants to do. In our case, the customer, we're saying the customer wants to be able to create an account. And then we say, what is the benefit? The customer being able to do so that I can access my, so I can, so you stipulate, there might be multiple benefits. So you can state whichever one you prefer. So for example, let's do one together. Do one together here. Everyone, please come to where I am. Okay. And if you're not able to, then if you can please just watch on Google Meet, that would be great as well. Or you can come to where I am. So I'm going to do the first one for create an account. Let's do it together. So you'd say, as a user, I want, now we look at, what is the goal? And you could see, I want to, these three words are always involved. I want to, da, 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 da. And, so what is the goal? What is the user? So we all know what goal means. The goal means, what is the user trying to do? So in our case, the user wants to create an account, isn't it? That's the goal. I want to, you can express that in however way you feel comfortable to express your English. So it could be, I want to, please, I don't want anyone changing that. As I said, customer and user, that's all preference. Like, there's no right or wrong. You can say customer, you can say user, whichever makes you happy. Like, there's no right or wrong. So I can change that now and say customer, for instance. It means nothing. It still describes the same entity. Everybody understands what I'm referring to. It's the user or the customer. So as a user or as a customer, I want to, guys, if we can just stay on the board and not be, I think we're moving around a lot. Like, I want us to really focus on what's being written. So if we really understand it, this will save us a lot of time down the line. It's very important, this framework. You're going to be dealing, this is about 80% of what you'll be involved with as a PM. So I want to make sure you really, really understand it. As a customer, I want to be able to, here again, as I say, it's all uh, subject, like how you express the English is just up to you. You can say I want to, and then state what the goal is. But being able to write in plain good English, it's nice. I want to be able to create an account on Flight Scanner so that I can get customized updates. So remember what I said? What is the role? Who is the user? So what is their role? Their role is from a user perspective because there are multiple roles in a platform. So in our case here, create an account, we're writing this from a user perspective. So you can write user stories from multiple perspectives. So our role here is from a customer perspective or user perspective. And then we've also stated what their goal is. In this case, the goal of the user is to the goal of the user is to be able to create an account. Yeah, create an account on Flight Scanner for what benefit? What is the benefit to the user if they create an account? The benefit, as we've stated here, is so that I can get customized updates. And one thing else to note is these are written from a user perspective, from a customer perspective. If you noted, I've used a personal pronoun there, I. I want to be able to create an account. Why do you write them in that format? Why didn't I say, as a customer, they want to be able, why didn't I use, they? I use I personalized it. So that's how user stories are written. User stories are personalized. They're written from the user perspective. You personalize it. Say, I, as a user, I would want to be able to create an account. You can also change the language. You can just simply go be direct and just say, I want to create an account on Flight Scanner so that I can get customized updates. Yeah, I'm showing you various ways just so you have to think what is the best possible way for me to make this understandable by anyone. So anyone within the company, might want to read this, they will immediately understand. So again, let's reiterate. As a customer, I want to create an account on Flight Scanner so that I can get customized updates. So the benefit, why have we used this benefit? There might be multiple benefits. There could be other benefits out there that we could have, used as opposed to this benefit. Why do I create an account? So that I can get customized updates. That's just one benefit. I could have also said to create an account so that I can create a personal profile for my account. That could be the benefit of creating an account. Without an account, there's no way I can create a profile. So do you see that there are multiple reasons? I stated this one so you don't question yourself to say, actually, is this the best? Is this the best benefit? Or actually, this is the wrong benefit. There are multiple benefits. So don't don't feel like the benefits that you've written aren't good enough. The core thing to worry about is, have I captured the goal, which is the middle piece? Remember, user stories are separated by two commas. The first comma tells you the user, and then you write what then the goal, and then comes the next comma, which separates the goal with the benefit. So in your writing, always bear that in mind. Two commas and a full stop. So the first tells you who the user is, and then next tells you the goal, and then next tells you the benefit. And you do so with the commas, the two commas and a full stop in the end. Any questions? Lastly, you could see create an account. That's the use case. This is the use case. That's the use case there. So you could see the use case, how it's been used in the user story. So as a user, I want to create an account. So you can see that create an account on Flight Scanner. So in, I've integrated it to the user story. So that's a use case, and this here is a user story. And as the name implies, it's a story. It's a story that is read out about the use case. So this story here tells everyone what we're trying to do for this user. There'll be a multitude of user stories, and you would go around creating them for all of the use cases on the platform. So as a PM, at any one time, you should be able to write, correct, teach how to create user stories. Now, as a PM, oftentimes you are in charge of a team, a product team. And when you bring in, let's say, a business analyst, or within the team, it could be UX people, user experience designers, or visual designers. Your role is to be able to ensure that everyone is communicating on requirements. And one way to do that is by ensuring that there are effective user stories written. And so you might hold some sessions, some classes to ensure that everyone in the team knows how to write good user stories. So you might do something like this to ensure everyone really understands. As a customer, I want to, what is the goal? So that benefit. Your turn. So here now, I'm going to create some sticky notes. So everyone just come in here. I bring everyone back to me. I want us all just, it's one per person, please. Uh, Pick one of these sticky notes and write what you believe a user story should be for this use case. Is that clear? So I don't want, no guys, the guys on the create account, that's not where I want you to write it. I want you to write it within this frame, the book, a flight frame. So I want everyone, I'm bringing you all to me now. I want everyone here in this frame. So pick one that's empty and create your own user story that pertains to book your flight. If you have questions, let's discuss. This is where you can ask questions. Let's not learn in silence, guys. Let's discuss these things. Well done to those that have begun. Guys, I see some of you are creating them as text. If you double click on the sticky notes, you're not sure how, come back to Google Meet and watch what I'm doing. You see how I do it. You need to double click on the sticky note and begin typing. So your responses are within the sticky notes. If you double click on the sticky note, it will do it. Any questions, just ask away. Can you come back to Google Meet to see the screen? I think I saw how you were doing it. I was advising. Can you see my screen? Okay. So I will need you to double click on the note. If you double click on the note, everything you entered, you don't even have to do anything. You just click outside. It's instantly saved. Yeah. So I think you entered it in a text box, so that got deleted. Yes. Mm. Everyone that joined, if if you, I mean, there are other people here that clicked on the same link. So This is a great learning opportunity for everyone, really, to be honest. So whenever a link is shared like that, it is never the fault of the link. So immediately the question should be, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. So I bring everyone again there. It's here. It's a big board. Yeah. I keep bringing everyone there, but don't worry. Slowly everyone would will get a hang of Miro. I'm sharing the link again for those that didn't have it. But yeah, it just needs to be okay. What is this? I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. We need to have that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. How you see yourself? Again, yeah. So that's a great question. So it should be, I'm seeing myself as a visitor. What am I doing wrong? If you're seeing yourself as a visitor, it means you haven't signed in. Yeah. Okay. You're seeing yourself, please, yeah. These are great questions. So asking these questions, this is how we really understand. We learn by doing. I can give you all the concepts, but this is a great opportunity. So if you're seeing Logout, for example, he's using his account. That's why we can all see him. Justine, can see you're using your account. I see a lot of visitors. Yeah, visitor just means, yeah, it just correct. Right, guys, and also I wouldn't really worry so much about signing in. Remember, the goal of this is not so that you're signed in. The goal is to, can you write a user story? So if you can do so with a visitor's account, that's still good. So that's why I opened the board to literally anyone with the link. When you see you're having problems typing in to the sticky notes, it keeps it keeps creating text boxes. Could you do it below here if you come to where I am? Yeah, I'll create a text box for you here. Remember, we as PMs, we just have to be very proactive. If we have a problem, we find a different way to, to achieve what we need to do. So if you're not able to create on a sticky note, that's fine. It's not end of the world. You can create on a text exactly like that. Still good. I've seen some great user stories written. Well done, guys. This is great. That's the goal. Can we write user stories? Because you know, the take home exercise this week, it's for, I'll send a bunch of, I'll send about 20 use cases and therefore be expecting a whole bunch of user stories. So I want everyone to be very conversant with this. When you go home, you can create effective user stories. This is one way that you would be you'll be assessed. Can you write effective user stories? Every year I get asked to do a bunch of uh, product management interviews for several companies, and one of the key questions that I always try to put out there is on user stories. And how do you turn user story? How do you create effective user stories? You'd be surprised how many people can hardly create good user stories. Justine, I see you're trying to move something. Again, as PMs, we should be proactivity is it's just in our nature. So proactivity here would be if you're struggling there, then you just move it. Come with me, you move it down. That's if you imagine you're in a board in a meeting with 20 other people, every impression matters. So everything you do matters. You should be thinking of that. Everything you do matters. If you mess up the board, people will be looking at pointing fingers. You don't want that sort of energy targeted at you. So you want to be, very mindful of what you do. And this is exactly what I said in the video that I shared, that it could just be you creating a bunch of sticky notes and just being able to enter text in it. So you mastering one thing at a time. Over time, you will know so much about Miro. That's what I shared. Is to sit down and try to learn Miro in one go. It's not really, good use of time. So you guys have seen what you've done here. I hope everyone now has a Miro account, and ideally, for the bunch of use cases that I would give, I would expect that you can create. I'll show you the template that I would want everyone to follow, similar to this. So you have the use case and you have the user story. So you have a bunch of user stories for each use case, and you need to do this on Miro. I would love for it to be done on Miro. So I know you guys are keen to learn Miro, and you would learn by doing. That's the only way to learn these tools. Okay, I think that's enough time given. Let's start looking through what some of you have done. So I bring everyone to me in Book of Flight. The first one here, I don't know who wrote it, so I'll just go through them briefly. As a user, I want to be able to get notified when there is change or delay in flight time. This is wrong. That's not the use case. I'll just call them out, guys. I don't know who did what, but I'll just call them wrong ones. I just put them in black. That's wrong. The use case here says book a flight. We saw what I did in the first one. The use case is create an account. You looked at the relevant user story. As a user, I want to compare and contrast prices. No, that's wrong. Uh, and then here, I see someone put a comment. As a user, I want to be able to check in. No, that's wrong. Uh, This is not about the use case here, guys, is book a flight. Anything that doesn't mention book a flight, it's wrong. As a user, I want to know how flights are there. No, that's wrong. As a customer, I want to be able to choose my seat. No, that's wrong. As a customer, I want to be able to change my book flight. No, that's wrong. Don't worry, guys. This is our first one, so we'll get a hang of it. As a customer, I want to be able to book my flight through calls in case I am in a place I can't access the internet. This is somewhat correct. Why? Because it says I want to be able to book my flight. Now, this person has provided more rationale as to where, but it's somewhat correct. So we'll leave that. As a user, I want to know availability of book. This is wrong. No, here's one. I want to be able to access flight scanner web page so I can book a flight. Again, this you've got the right thinking there, Nonier. So somewhat okay. So we'll leave it. I've added it in a sticky note for you. It's somewhat okay, so we'll leave that. As a user, I want to be able to check in seamlessly. No, this is wrong. So the lesson here, guys, is to always have to ask yourself, what is the use case? When I put this, I put all the use cases. I added it there. So that's the use case for the first one is to be able to create an account. The use case for the second one is to be able to book a flight. So the correct user story, therefore, would be as a user or customer. Yeah, whichever one you like. As I said, as a user, I want to be able to book a flight so that I can complete, so that I can travel to my destination. That's it. So what have we done here? We've said what the user is. We've said what the user wants to do, which is to book a flight. That is the goal. We've said what the benefit is. The benefit is so that they can travel. Yeah. Any question on this? Remember what I said? Is what is the role? What is the goal? And what is the benefit? That's the role, which is as a user, I want to be able to book a flight, and that always relates to the use case that I want to. You just need to add some grammar to it to make it sensible. But essentially, this is what you're doing: book a flight. That's the use case. So you add it there. I want to be able to book a flight, and then what is the benefit? So that I can travel to my destination. And I said that the benefit you could have. I have multiple reasons for doing one thing. I want to drink water. Why? Because I'm thirsty. I want to drink water. Why? Because it's good for my health. You see, there are multiple benefits of drinking water. So whichever one I like, I can use here. So I chose so that I can travel to my destination, but there are other reasons I could have used. I hope that's clear. Okay, let's practice again. Everyone come here. Let's try the profile. This is profile. Let's see how we get on with this one. I'll put a timer for this one, 2 minutes, and begin. Are we all clear on what to do? Pick a sticky note and the same way, just try to create. Go. Got a timer running, so in 2 minutes, we'll be done. Right, that's time up, guys. Do you need more time? Or should we start reviewing? Yeah, let's begin, guys. Let's see what we have here. Right, so we have this is what is the use case? The use case is for a user to be able to create a profile. That is the use case. The use case is, as you know, someone comes on on flight scanner and they want to be able to create a profile. And so as a user, I want to create my profile so I can personalize my account. Wonderful. This is beautiful. Whoever did this, fantastic. Uh, as a customer, I want to create a profile so I can have my information at hand. Beautiful. Wonderful. Yeah, I love it. So we have two variations here. One says user, one says customer. So we can see it's fine. It's just subjective. It's whatever way, whichever one you prefer, whichever, role you prefer. If you prefer to say customer, prefer to say user, it doesn't matter. It's still as long as you communicate. And these two here you do a great job at communicating that. Well done, guys. Love that. As a customer, I want to create a profile to enable me to sign in to your platform. Uh, this here could be enhanced. It's 50-50. A profile doesn't enable you to sign on, so you must be careful. You can see, can we learn something here? We can see that these two, the first two here, they follow the format that I advise, and so they are almost perfect. What is the format that I advise? I advise that after as a customer, comma, I want to create a profile, comma, so that I can have my information at hand. You see, and then we look at the third one, it doesn't follow that format. So it's up to you guys. If you follow exactly what I am showing, then you're likely to create the same outcomes because a framework guides your thinking. Without having those commas, it's because you're starting out, it might be tricky for you to get a hand to get really get a hang of it. But by literally following all of following the prompts that I provide, it makes it easier. The first two are written wonderfully. The third one is 50-50. And I think if that person might have followed the structure, the idea is there, but it's just not very accurate. We're product managers. We deal in excellent communication. So the idea is there, but it's just not communicated clearly. So this, I say, is 50%. We look at the fourth one. As a user, I want to be able to create a profile so that I can access the flight scanner web page easily. Beautiful. Again, we have a third one, follows the format, and so it's written almost to perfection. So well done, whoever wrote this. As a user, I want to create a profile that would enable me to book a flight on Skyscanner. Again, you can see these two have the same thing in common. Written, maybe 50%, accurate, but they don't follow the format. So the message gets muddled. The message is missed. Yes, I can see create a profile there. Yes, I can see create a profile in two of them, but the nuance, the understanding is not there. I don't, if I am a developer, software engineer, I don't really understand this. I don't know what this is trying to do. Yes, what do you want to do with a profile? Whereas this, you could see as a user, I want to be able to create a profile. Okay, this person wants to create a profile. Why? So that they can access the flight scanner web page easily. Okay, I understand. Very clear. The second one, the same thing. The first one, the same thing. So these three very clear in that regard. And then we look at the last one here. As a user, I want to be able to create a profile so that my flight preferences can be easily accessible. Again, beautiful. Really, really good one. Solid reason why someone might want to create a profile. And then as a customer, then this one, as a customer, I want to be able to create a profile as flight scanner so that I can receive updates. Another beautiful one. Thank you guys. This is good. Is that probably you, Nanye? That's really good. Uh, and then this one, as a user, I want to create a good profile with all details of mine so my client can, again, we have to be careful. This gets more, it's, as a user, I want to create a good profile with all my details. See, up to that point is good. Then here it gets confusing so that my client, remember I said initially, I said it's all using personal pronoun, right? That relates to I. Now here you're confusing the personal pronoun my client. Who is my client? That's confusing. So this one here, you need to review what everyone else did and pick up something there, which is you have to keep it personal. What do I mean? We look at as a user, I want to be able to create a profile so that I can access the flight scanner webpage easily. Very clear. Only one person doing the action. Only one person receiving the benefits. So whoever wrote that, please be mindful. As a customer, I want to create a profile so as to save my data with flight scanner. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. It could be optimized a bit better. Remember, guys, there's no need to get fancy with it. Just do something fundamentally well. Something basic, do it extremely well. If you try to be fancy, sometimes you can make some errors. So these are fundamental things, but we do them extremely well. Like you're building a house. The foundation may seem simple because no one sees it, but if you do it really well, then your house is strong. So this is such a thing. It's fundamental, but let's stick to the principles. And I think there were other ones. Yeah. And that's it. So well done, everyone. Really good attempt there. I think we get a hang. We all get a hang of this now. Uh, Maybe let's do one last one. I just want to make sure for the take-home exercise that everyone is really good to go. So I've given some feedback there. I love the transition. So look how we went from book a flight and then how we went from create a profile. That tells me that we're all really, getting this concept. And I like that. So well done, everyone. Now let's try and go for 100% accuracy here. Okay, so the last one would be uh, search for a flight. And again, as before, this time I won't add sticky note. Okay, I'll add some, but for those that can add your own sticky notes, let's see how you get on with adding your own sticky notes. Again, I want us to practice. So, and I want us to do it here. Excellent, excellent, Nanye. Good going. For those that can add your own sticky notes, let's see. This is where we practice. Let's see if you know how to add your own sticky note. Add your own sticky note and create a user story. Brilliant, visitor, trailblazer, fantastic, Charles. Uh, Visitor, creator, well done, loving that. Log out, get yours, leave mine. Let's see if you can get your own sticky note. If you can't, you can copy mine. Mine is at the top. That's another skill as well. You don't necessarily have to add a new one. You just copy and paste. Well done, guys. Loving the proactivity and creativity from everyone. This is how we master these skills. So should you join an existing product team, and this is what happens. Exactly what we're doing here is what happens in a company. So it could be everyone trying to create a bunch of user stories, and you just get on with it. They will put a whole bunch of use cases, as I am doing, and albeit there will be multitudes of use cases, and you just pick one use case and write the user story for it, because there might be 200 use cases, for instance, and you just be expected to create. So if you pick a use case and created a user story for it, no one would be worried, because they can see that you know how to write user stories. So well done, guys. Right. Thank you, guys. Let's have a final check. So, what is the use case? Use case here is search for a flight. Fantastic. And the first one, as a user, I want to search for flight so I can travel for a boot camp. Yeah, that's, see, brilliant. Follows the format. That's the user. They want to search, and if they've got it there, the reason that that's the benefit. And then again, guys, remember you're writing. One of your core skill as a product manager is your communication. So try to communicate as clear as possible. Now that you understand how to write the user stories, next is to frame these things in good English, so anyone can understand. It's not mandatory, but it's nice. I think we all love to present the best image possible. This is one way you could do it. Present yourself in the best, possible way. So that'll be the next step, that you think carefully about what you're writing. Am I using the right words and so on? But overall, that's brilliant. As a user, I want to search for a flight so I can know the date and time of my flight. Yep, good one. Again, same feedback. Just make sure that your command of English there, that what you're writing, is as clear as possible. Think clarity as a PM. That's key. Okay. Then the next one, as a user, I want to be able to search for a flight on Flight Scanner web page so I can, and yeah, can't see. So I can book a flight to my destination. Brilliant. Well expressed. Uh, articulation, great. Everything just makes sense. So well done. As a customer, I want to search for a flight so that I can travel to the UK. Brilliant. Let me know when you're coming to England. Next one, as a user, I want to search for a flight so that I can visit my family in Nigeria. Brilliant. You know, brilliant, brilliant. Guys, the improvement on this, honestly, I can't tell you how happy I am. We went from this, majority of them, you guys, is the first one, not really understanding. And then as soon as you saw, now we're writing perfect user story all within the space of 2 hours. I mean, that's fantastic. So that's only a testament to you and your understanding. So well done, guys. I will send about 20 use cases in the same format of what we've done here. And again, I don't want us, I know we tend to get stuck on mirror. I don't want us to get stuck on mirror. So I'm going to create two formats. One where you could eas you could easily do this yourself. So if you come here, if you all come to me, if you all can see my screen, you could easily essentially just add a new frame, and then in that frame you would need to add copy the use case one, you add it there, use case one, you add what the use case is. Yeah, put the use case there, and then you proceed to adding a sticky note that explains that, then proceed to add the user story for the use case. And then use case two, you then proceed to add the user story. Again, same thing for third one. Is that clear, guys? Yeah. So I will send the use cases. I'll send 20 use cases. So I just need you to copy them and add them, add them there, relevant, and then the user story as we have been doing. That's one way. If you want to go through all that stress, if you're uninterested in that, I will share a Google Doc and it will be very simple. And you could equally do that. I'll share, and in it will just be a table. If you're not interested, because I'm not interested in you being stressed, I simply want that's the use case, and here would be the user story. Can you all see my screen? If you come back to my screen, you could see what I have done. Okay, good. Awesome. So you have, again, this is either or. So here will then be a bunch of use cases. Use case one will be there. Use case two. So for those that prefer this, and then here you would then put your user story. You then write a user story there that pertains to use case one, and then use case that pertains to use case two, and a use case that relates to use case three, and so on. As I said, I will send you 20 of these, right? And then I'll give you a bunch because I want us to be masters of these platforms, but we can be masters of them as we go along. We don't need to do that from day one. Yes, we learn the platforms, on a daily basis. So, whenever we have an exercise, that's one way. So I'm going to give you three options. The third option, how many of us have used Excel before? Okay, okay, good. So we'll have three different platforms. Okay, one, two, three. So as said, there'll be 20 use cases. So it'll be here. What's the use case? So as you can see, then the use case will sit here, and let's make these a bit bigger. Okay, use case, user story. You see, use case, user story. And then here in the user story, you then articulate what the use case is, just in the same way we've been doing. If it's, for example, create account, you then write the user story for that. And then likewise, again, it goes on. And I will share this before tomorrow. Everyone should have it, so you have enough time to crack on with this through the week. So you will have three different templates. What I'm saying, guys, I want to be very clear here. I'm not saying you do it for all the platforms. I'm saying it's either or. If you prefer Excel, do it in Excel, and that's it. If you prefer Miro, do it in Miro, and that's it. If you prefer this, then you do it in this platform, and that's all. Is that clear? Yes, I can hear you. Your volume is not very clear. Sorry. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Good, good suggestion. But here's where you run foul. As a PM, as a product manager, you're expected to be great at all these. I mean, you're expected to grade out any platform you choose to use. Yeah. So if you choose to use Microsoft Word or doc like this, you're expected to understand how to use it. If you choose to use Excel, you're expected to understand how to use it. If you choose to use Miro, you're expected to understand how to use it. So whichever one you prefer, it's all preferences. So I've worked in consulting firms where all I ever used was essentially Excel and Google Slides, and those were the two. And then I've also worked in other companies where I literally lived and breathed Miro. So it's whichever one you prefer. It's not, no one would demand that you use Miro, for instance. It's just you being able to know how, like with Excel now. And if you see what I've done there, I deleted the rest of the column. The only way I knew how to do that, it's by continuously using it. So being able to play around, being able to make the columns and the rows bigger, being able to expand, just make it presentable. These things you just learn by just playing with it, being able to change the font size and so on. So I would say choose one, but yeah, we will get better at all of these platforms over time from the exercises that we'll be doing. And so after this, next week, everyone would have to then move all of these user stories into Jira, which is another platform. So do you see? So every week we pick up something new. Awesome. So guys, three different platforms there. Whichever one you choose, don't worry. One thing I'm not expecting is that for you to do this on all three platforms. If you want to, sure, why not? Go for it. You know, but otherwise, one platform is enough. I'll share the template and the use cases because all I care about you doing is being able to populate the user story. Any questions on the takeaway exercise? Fantastic. Then we're all clear. So just to summarize then, the take home exercise would be 20 use cases that you would then have to write user story for them. For each and every use case, you will write a bunch of user stories for it in the same way that we did in the class. Please, everyone, just think carefully about how you formulate those user stories. Very important. You saw how we began. We struggled a little bit, and then the second one we did, it was brilliant, and then so on because we really understood what we're doing. So I want us to use the same mindset to create those user stories. Once you get the use cases, it's great practice. Usually, we're gonna write a whole bunch. The average I usually let people do is about 200 user stories. There are cases where people have done 500 plus user stories. I've made them do 500 plus user stories, and they became masters of user story writing. You can give them a user story on anything, they will never struggle because they really, really understood the fundamentals of user stories. So this is a critical piece of our journey together. So have fun with it. And any questions, just drop me a message on Slack. And yeah, that's all. Thank you all for today. Your collaboration was, massively important. So thank you.